So we bought a house and we're sitting in it right now.
We are.
And how awesome is it?
It's pretty dope.
And how like a little bit disappointing is some elements. We're going to discuss that in this video.
As our 2-year-old would say. 2 seconds.
Let's just start with a broad overview of the experience of buying a house in Japan. For us it was like 4 years or 5 years. It was since 2020, just kind of planning. And
So 2020, was it before 2020?
we're gonna move there one day. We're gonna live there one day for 6 months of the year, and we're just gonna see everywhere and in a caravan. That's kind of our dream when our little big kids grow up.
I don't know when the idea of buying a house here really came to fruition.
We started listening to the NTI podcast in 2020.
Okay, that makes sense.
When we were really kind of hankering to get out of Australia. Fast forward to the end of last year, we contacted them, started meetings, told them that we're pretty good at finding what we want to, and what we're all ears also.
Which one of us found this place? BT does? Is it you or me?
I think it was me. I got in a bit of a panic that it would not be around like these. All the houses that we want would keep getting snapped up by insider people.
I mean, which we saw happen increasingly.
And to some extent, the free market does not exist in Japan. If your business or your product or your service sells really well, the line just gets longer. The price doesn't increase. That's kind of a broad statement, but it's what we've noticed. It's not true for second-hand clothing shops in the centre of cities though.
We came over about 6 months ago to physically look at houses, and we travelled around with a real estate agent.
And you've probably seen those videos. If not, we'll link them down.
Between that time and not long after going home, we found another place that we liked because we didn't find it. Well, we found one that we didn't like, but we didn't get it. And
then
it was
we had
pretty
to
much off the market before we even really looked at it.
Yeah, then we had to come to terms if we're going to have to just buy something
that we'd never physically seen.
A viewing over Skype. I didn't hate the idea. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
If we can't be there,
I think had we have not done the physical
fault.
touring the 6 months before, I would have felt nervous. Having done that, looked at quite a few places, been like, okay, this is what's in our price range.
Of a price range, yeah.
Which, obviously, if you didn't, we had really specific things that we wanted. We wanted a garage, we wanted certain proximity to the city, we wanted, a certain size, etc.
Certain price, and that kind of
price range
narrowed things
really
down
narrowed.
To 5% of the search.
Absolutely dope places that if you don't want to have a car, which is extremely doable, the only reason
Which is sensible, but we're not sensible.
Yeah, we just want to be doing too many things outside of the city.
And inside the city also.
Inside the city. But we had really sort of niche requirements. Anyway, we pretty much jumped on this place within the Skype call.
We're just like, let's go.
Because we don't need to get a mortgage that puts you ahead of other people.
Yeah.
Well, it was a first in, best dress, they sort of said.
There's a delay when you try and get the money from the bank. So we probably did beat out a Japanese couple or a young family. So we gotta take the burden of guilt from that.
Oh, well, next door's empty.
So. Yeah, I suppose.
There's lots of houses.
That's
we are not,
true.
It is not even remotely comparable to
we're just thinking
an
about
Australian market. Australian market is like do or die, and let's not even talk about. Anyway.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Let's not.
Don't start me.
So anyway, I was a tiny bit nervous about what we were going to get because it's been empty for 6 months.
Yeah,
5 months or something.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less than that. A little while with no one, we hadn't had it aired out or anything. So I was concerned that we'd come in and it would just be full of rubbish or mice or super dilapidated.
We met the owner and she
they
didn't
seem
too much of a recluse.
No, but you don't know what you're going to get, especially because no one stepped foot. Well, actually, we've had a few people step foot in the building. We've had some appraisals for stuff, but
Yeah, we did a housing inspection that cost us a pretty penny, over 1,000 Australian dollars, which 100 cents is equivalent to 100 yen at the moment, more or less. But it did go up to almost.
Yeah, we did
100
buy at a really
cents.
good time.
So that we did the money transfers through Revolut, which was a bit of fuss because I had to send it in 10,000 increments at a time.
Anyway, we made it. Now that I think about all those things,
Yeah.
they were kind of stressful.
Yeah, all
There was
these
lots of
little
processes
things.
that were kind of stressful,
Lawyers
like the paperwork
involved.
internationally, but the company we went through were fantastic,
Yeah,
and they
sorted everything out.
we were being up shit creek.
Yeah, we couldn't have done
We
this
couldn't
on
have
our
done.
own.
We couldn't have
They're-
realistically.
They've fixed so many things. They are fixers.
So that
That's
was
what
really
I call them.
And it's really cool coming from a place where you feel like you can't get ahead or have any way of any kind of security or whatever with the Australian housing market the way that it is. It feels nice to know that we own something here that we can share with our children
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
Might be in a foreign country. You know, they might want to sell it or whatever, and it's not like Australian housing where it's going to go through the roof, but it's something. It's more than nothing. And
I'm 40, Elise is 32. We have 3 degrees between us, and yet we don't think housing is affordable in our own country. We think it's slavery to buy a house there, where you're signing yourself up to slavery.
Well, it's not slavery. That's diminishing people who are in actual slavery.
Well, if
It's-
you look at a feudal system, it is very similar to what the system is now.
Right.
In some ways, they have a more autonomous living condition than us. But anyway, we keep digressing. Got all the paperwork, so much of that. If you want to do something like this, expect to do a lot of paperwork, a lot of toing, froing.
Yeah.
Everything's complicated. We couldn't even buy an IKEA order ourselves because the IKEA Japan didn't accept our Australian credit card, even my Revolut.
Many learning curves, but at the end of the day, we've been able to find a way around
Yeah.
the majority of them.
Mostly through a laborious emailing back and forth our fixes. A lot of the people doing it, English is second language. It's like a little bit of negotiating the language barrier. Well, we've got gas on, we've got electricity on, we have a roof over our heads, we have a holiday home that we were planning to be taking a lot of long holidays
Yes.
in
On
the
our
near future.
Tourist visas,
And-
emphasizing that.
And kind of
We don't have residency, we don't plan on getting residency.
these boomers here have done it a bit more right to their generation. I know their wages haven't increased. Maybe that's their burden to bear with their generation.
Yeah, but the cost of living hasn't increased
Yeah.
much.
The boomers here
So it's
haven't.
just like it's comparable.
Yeah, it's kind of-
so
it's
it's
kind of
like your
comparable.
wage. When you look at what food costs are and housing costs are, they're all largely aligned.
And the average boomer doesn't own all these properties and
People
have a
aren't- it's not a thing here.
portfolio.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't inherit all this wealth. It gets taxed at a certain amount.
There's
and it
so
doesn't-
many factors
There's not that
which.
kind of disparity. Sure, there's some wealth, and there's actually a little bit of wealth around where we are, which I was kind of surprised
Slightly.
by. It's definitely a very fortunate location, more so than I thought it was going to be.
We're not going to say too much to dox ourselves. I know some people don't care and they're happy to show where they are and the outside of the house. They really respect people keeping it real online and sharing stuff. I've also seen other people that will barely show the inside of their house and they're just renting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, live your truth. I just
everyone-
prefer not to say exactly where we are.
yeah,
We're in
everyone has their own level of comfortability. Anyway, they mailed us the keys, the paperwork. Do you want to have one night in a hotel so you can get organised? No, we are bringing air beds.
came here at 11 o'clock at night.
We're bringing air beds.
And that was with efficiency. That was with our Coca cards that had cash on them, and we already had cash, and we came.
No,
you know
homeless
exactly
trolley.
how to get from the airport to here in the most efficient time possible. We did on 2 trains. It was super efficient. We carried all of our luggage using the pram, and I physically carried the extremely heavy baby.
We didn't take any easy street.
No, we could have just got a
get here.
taxi. Would have been.
Like, nothing we've done is easy in our life. The places that we work.
People on the
or
train were
especially,
like pretty. Thought we were homeless a little bit, but like
it's
whatever.
very confronting to them. Anyway,
Anyway, we got here and the we couldn't figure out the lights until I remembered a point in the Zoom call, because there's like an electricity box downstairs, and
there was references to it.
And talking about the electricity was on. And anyway, we figured it all out.
It took us half an hour to turn some lights on.
Had the most camping sleep of a long time.
Yeah.
And then our IKEA delivery arrived the next day and we had a mattress, and it was just like luxurious from there. I mean, my idea of luxurious anyway. We haven't got a fridge, we don't have a...
And the gas man came the same period of time.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
On the second morning.
Wasn't waiting all day like you used to at home. We're like, we'll give you a window of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You need to be home the whole time.
It's fantastic.
And then we'll come and we won't knock, and so we won't do the service.
So what was your first impressions?
The smell.
Yeah, because there's no plug in the laundry where the washing machine would have gone.
Stagnant water, and stagnant water always does that in a house. If you're not running water through it, we've had that issue before. It just smells very dank.
I thought it would be worse, actually.
And I thought the smell of the house would be worse. Like, it was very fine once we opened the windows downstairs and this level.
No mold or anything. We were trying to get people in to do a clean, but that just didn't eventuate with our fixes. Those other priorities. Baby was pretty decompensated at that point, so we just wanted to get some rest. Yeah, it was super fun, even though we were so tired. Just like, oh my god.
Just walking into extraordinarily steep stairs and being like, oh my god, it's real.
And even just the size of the house, we didn't really comprehend the size of the house. Like buying this table for the house when we didn't really know.
It was a good
how can we fit it? Yeah, it's a lot of...
And we only had short clips of a Zoom movie and a floor plan and some photos, so it was just kind of like...
And the Zoom thing was not a good recording because it kept on cutting to our interpreter when it should have just... The video should have stayed on the real estate agent going through this
I tell you what, the owner prior to us had carpet tiles over the timber and lino in the kitchen, so the floor was schmick 2 weeks ago. It's not already, but that's fine. Beautiful timber floors.
And we're not even sure if she was the first, second, third owner, fourth. Like, who knows? It's been around since 1994, which is really new. But houses aren't built to the same standards that they are in other places in the world. Like, more so in modern houses in Australia, they're getting a bit more so like this. But we live in an old Queenslander that's maybe 60, 70, 80 years old. Everything's hardwood, and you'd have to be really trying to ding stuff there, or like you bump into the wall and you're sore.
We do need to do a tiny bit of facelift. The bathroom needs to be completely renovated, unfortunately, due to water damage, which we knew about. And we knew it was going to be another like $10,000 to $20,000, but we'll cop it.
The previous occupant has just had that shower pointed at the door so many times, it's just come through, and now we have water damage. I haven't looked here before, only seeing it on pictures. Let's just have a look. Yeah, that doesn't look great. Is that an airsoft BB? Yeah, that's just totally disintegrated. That's just wood chips there. How do I feel about?
Yeah, that's not good. Oh, shit.
What's behind this? You can kind of see it's a little bit of an unwelcome surprise, but it is what it is. So we'll probably have them get rid of this.
And we need to do the wallpaper. It's outside of the bathroom, it's mostly superficial.
We need to put an awning on the front top balcony because it does catch a lot of water, needlessly so, and the other neighbours have one, so we want to do something like that. Yeah, maybe have a washlet too. So 4 things, 4 upgrades, and we're pretty happy. We have little children, and we also have big children, and we're all going to use this house. And when you have little children, you can't expect to have
can't be too precious. You
pristine,
know that it's
untouched floor with no scratches, no drop toys on them. You just have to think of it as somewhat of a disposable item, like most people think here. Like
it's lived in. I wouldn't call it disposable.
Well,
it's like...
they feel like houses are like a car or like a computer. Maybe that,
But then
not
they do
that
have places
shorter
that are
life.
very older, like long.
Yeah, they think that land is where the most value is. And same with Australia, I guess, but less brick houses here. This one is actually steel framed house with a little bit of wood frame too, and that's quite rare. And we wanted that because if an earthquake happens or tsunami happens and we're not in the country, we just want a bit of extra peace of mind. We've also looked at flood maps, earthquake
Yeah, I've done
maps.
extensive disaster map planning to find an area that's relatively low risk.
Yeah, that's on the lower end of the risk areas. The one that we wanted more, that was in a little bit more precarious places, and that had some issues with, do you remember one of the rooms had the flooring
was not good, and he was like, you're probably going to replace this floor, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do a whole bedroom floor. That being said, we have to do a whole bathroom floor.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a lucky dip kind of thing.
And it's not like we're buying like a $5,000 IKEA that we're going to
Yeah.
live here and
like some people do.
do it all ourselves and
In the
stuff like that.
country.
That's not what we're doing.
Yeah, we'd prefer to just make the money and have someone do it.
We're planning on spending 3 months at a time because that's the tourist visa that we can spend here, and then going on holidays to Korea in between or surrounding destinations in between our visas here. But we won't be working here. We don't have any kind of working visa.
We have a certain set of skills, trade qualities that may make it viable for us to work here. I sort of wouldn't mind giving back to the country. That's something that isn't just money. We'll just see about that. It could be...
I'm more than happy to not work for 6 months of the year. I mean, I absolutely would if I needed to, but...
If someone offered us like some unicorn deal, then we'd have to have a chat about it. But at this point, we're quite happy.
My language skills would have to improve exponentially for me to be able to work in an aged care facility.
There's kind of that our idea of an endless winter too. Endless autumn, spring, winter.
I couldn't do my literal job here because it's too complicated. Hard enough doing my job in English. I can't imagine doing my job in a second language. It would be...
Yeah. Like we could do...
That's why I'm always impressed by my colleagues, the way English is their second language and they're doing the work that we do, because...
They probably learned it
Intensive
at a younger
care
age. By no stretch of the imagination are we good language learners, but we can be. That's the thing. We can be bad at language learning. We're just casually learning as we go. No stress.
Certainly not coming here and being like, I expect people to speak English.
Yeah.
And where we are, even though it's in the city, once you stop going to tourist destinations and you're just in the community, people stop speaking English to you.
Yeah.
Like a few trips ago when I was trying to practice some Japanese, people would just genuinely just constantly try to speak English to me, which is fine. And I'm glad when they do now because I'm often way out of my depth, but it happens way less now. Because the things that we're doing are not touristy, so they're kind of like, if you're here, why don't you know how to ask where to find that thing?
Yeah.
Or because we're doing more like living situation activities.
So what are some of the things that you're really happy about that was surprisingly good?
Proximity to the train line, and then the frequency of those trains, and the general proximity to where we can ride our bikes to.
Yeah.
And the neighbourhood, even though it is very quiet and our child is very loud, and we have another one on the way, so I can't imagine what 2 of those children is like. Like, then our neighbour is so quiet. They have a child that's 1 year older than our child, and you just hear like and then occasionally like
it's like a mouse. Yeah.
You just hear the cute toddler footsteps. You don't hear the full-blown tantrums. And to be fair, you know, Rumi's in a foreign country, and he's finally adjusted, and now he's like these last 4 days or something, he's been totally normal. But prior to that, holy mother of pearl, were there some ragrats.
Yeah, we didn't do any filming for the first week at all, pretty much,
Oh
because we were just shopping for the house, really.
Yeah.
We were just IKEA nesting
Cleaning
for the first
the house
week. And it was so fun, but it was stressful with him and his ability.
Generally with a toddler, it's hard work. Just really stoked about. We have one of the rooms in the house is like a traditional Japanese room. Waking up in that room is so nice every day.
Yeah.
I feel like what it would feel like if you were in a ryokan, because you open your eyes and you're like, oh,
Surprisingly,
You look and feel like you're in Japan.
Surprisingly, you don't need curtains because
Yeah.
it's just
The sliding doors and the sliding window,
yeah.
it just goes pitch black in that
I was like,
one of our
oh my
rooms.
god, I can't believe I didn't remember curtains, which we have to measure by the
Front
way.
room we do need to do before we leave. I want to take photos of all the rooms because people keep asking me what the
Yeah.
house is like. I'm like, I haven't taken a single photo. The neighbours have been really nice.
I am, dare I say, conversational if things are kept pretty superficial. We're talking about neighbourhood stuff, travel, greetings. We're not talking about like the
you
plot
can.
of Refate or something.
You are able to. I just looked at Aaron and be like, I don't know what's happening.
And some gaijin hunters, they have come talk to us, like, which has been really nice.
We've met a few
love these
lovely-
gaijin hunters
lovely
because
people.
it's just like a mutual interest. It's
Yeah.
like when I meet Korean people in Brisbane, I just want to talk about the films and stuff because
Yeah.
we have a mutual interest. Anyway, I've been asking them, is this a good area that we're in? And they're talking all this. Like the way they say it. And what was that other lady? She said it's a very quiet place.
Oh, yeah,
And,
just living our life. Second night, it was boiling hot. We didn't have fans. We don't have any AC because people like take their AC with them. So we slept with the window open and we could hear flute. This is all going to sound really silly. So we could hear some drumming, some music just wafting through the window. And I was like, that's it. I'm in my anime dreams. Like,
Yeah.
this is real.
It's pretty weebalicious.
And then our neighbour, one of our other neighbours, just plays like another traditional flute. I should learn what that is. I'm not sure. I'll find out.
I used to have one in a sample pack when I was
Japanese
doing
flute.
music production. These
And
pan
she
fluty
also
type
plays
things.
the shamisen. So
Yeah.
you just feel like you're floating. It's delightful.
And Rumi's got a few abachans already.
Yes, he does. He's
And
lovely.
one of them's really nice, across the road. She was very happy and warm and greeting, and we gave Rumi, here, have a cuddle.
Yeah.
And then
You would bowl
the
her over, you're so
husband
big.
was like, I think after he heard how loud this child
Yes.
was, at times, he's loud in short periods. He comes back to baseline pretty quick,
Yeah.
but he escalates pretty quick.
And so loud.
and it's just, it would be a lot.
You would
I
absolutely
can
be able
totally sympathise.
And this is to our best ability of calming him down. Like, we're not just like letting him go rampage. This is like both of us on full de-escalating rampage alert. Yeah, trying to regulate him, help him. You start with shush and
Yeah.
this was both trying to regulate him.
Yeah, so he was a little less warm the next time you saw him. Anyway, you have a tradition where when you move into a neighbourhood, you give the neighbours a gift. And so you say, Kore sumerenai mono desu ga dozo. And you have a little greeting card. Our Japanese friend in Australia helped us write them, and Elise from the email wrote them in handwriting, which you got a compliment on, by the way. Anyway, we particularly wanted to give it to him, the Oji-san, because we felt like we need to warm things up a bit more there, where she was kind of a lot more tolerant.
Yeah.
But that's just how things are in Japan, and we fully get that, and
Totally.
we appreciate that.
Totally.
It comes with a lot of good things, so you got to appreciate the holistic things, not whatever just works for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that warmed him up, and they were like from, what is it, Noosa Chocolate Factory?
Yeah, yeah.
Something very regional to where we live in Australia. We've never bought them for ourselves, too bougie for our taste. But before we gave here's a little gift, it's a very trifling thing, and sorry to bother you, but here it is anyway. That's what that means. Sumerenai mono desu ga dozo. She was going, Oji-san, kawaii ko, to coax him down.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he is a granddad.
Yeah. That's already
And he didn't come down.
Nah, he wasn't
Like-
interested. He's like, I've seen kids before.
No, I don't want to know that kid.
Don't want to know
He
that
pissed me
loud
off.
kid has to close the windows when they
Yeah.
get home.
We have heard a window close when we've gotten back on the bike.
You hear the bikes pedaling into
Anyway.
you could hear a pin drop on this street, honest to God.
In the mornings, it's just so
So
quiet.
quiet.
Anyway, we're just kind of, I suppose we're talking more about the house and the experience, which I hope you find this stuff interesting. Is there anything else?
There's an extensive bin and recycling process.
Yeah.
But I think most people know that about Japan.
Yeah. Just look at your local website.
That
you
has
can
been a bit of trial and tribulation. Even though I researched it extensively, we've still had some
just get a Cronet early.
up and down. Yeah, get a Cronet. Like
got a
pretty much straight
refund.
away.
We got a refund.
We did get some of that. I knew that we were going to get some
That's
of that recycling back because I've got to go more into depth about what papers.
Yeah.
Also, if you've got a toddler who enjoys machinery, you've come to the right place because your garbage trucks
machines
will sing Yankee Doodle Dandy as they come down the street and let you know, like sounds like an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
But it's your bin truck.
It's fantastic.
It's wonderful. Overall, like 10 out of 10 can recommend.
Yeah.
If you have a job where you don't have to work all year round. Also, let this be known, nurses aren't actually paid that much, just putting this out there. And this only works simply because we have to live very modestly in both countries in order to make this lifestyle possible. It's not going to be something where we can just like live lavishly, which is why we need to get all the renovations and things done now because we won't be able to afford it when we're only working 6 months of the year.
It makes a lot more sense to just have
A house in the
3
country that you live
holidays to Japan a year.
Oh yeah, 100%. Would be way more affordable.
If you like a little bit finer things in life and you don't want to live on the skin.
Yeah. Whereas Aaron and I actually feel uncomfortable living in lavish. We've
just gotten used to living on the skin.
So for us, going to like discount supermarkets and getting like good deal sashimi and stuff is kind of where we get our kicks.
That's a really good point. Of course, if you're rich, like
cool,
none of these financial issues apply, but we're just telling you because perhaps you're on a little bit of a budget like us. We have many children as an expense too, so that's a factor. Everyone has a budget, whether it's big or small.
Yeah, exactly.
And no matter where you buy a house, there's unexpected costs.
But in terms of livability and in terms of
certainly wasn't like an episode of Grand Designs, was it?
No, not at all. Where we've got like a million hidden costs. We didn't walk in and be like, oh my God, this is actually a shithole. What have we done with what could have been a house deposit in Australia?
But even
it's a bit of a gamble when you're our age to like, hey, let's spend an entire house deposit on a house in a different country.
And even when people do buy Akias in the country for $8,000, like what do you really expect? Like when you go to a budget sushi train, do you really expect like top tier experience?
And we could have saved for another couple of years and bought something for twice as much.
We were planning
which
to do
we'd
that.
initially thought about doing.
But everything in the world just inflated after 2022.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with how things have got. This house is plenty big enough for the purpose that we want to use it for. And in the future, we are going to plan to get a camper car of some description. That'll be a different chapter. But for the next 3 years, we're happy to live without it. We done our RV trip last year. This is what we're going to do with the rest of our lives. We're just going to live our best lives in Japan and go see everything it has to offer. And maybe little side quests to Korea, Hong Kong. We love places in Asia. Makes us feel like we're not vegetating in one corner of Earth. I think I've quoted that before from a Huckleberry Finn book. Men cannot have good feelings for self, others, and their surroundings if they vegetate in the same corner of the earth all their life. And we didn't want to do that anymore because I feel like I did. It is a bit of a gamble.
And it kind of only works if there's two people who are willing to just throw caution to the wind in a way. If COVID happens again, we're kind of fucked. If one of us can't work, one of us dies, one of us like is severely injured, this plan will not work very effectively.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to the drawing board. But
life happens no matter what you choose to do with it.
Yeah.
So this is our choices, and like,
my occupation and Aaron's occupation kind of proves that to us most days of the week.
Yeah, yours especially. And hopefully this has been interesting, if nothing else. Very useful, perhaps even. And
this battery's about to die.
Yeah.
You can see from here.
Let us know if you have any questions in the comments. Shout out to Nippon Trading Industries that helped make our dream come true.
Yeah, very, very helpful.
Extent.
Very
and see you in the next one.
Ciao now.